All right, so welcome to another deep dive. We love to get into the nitty-gritty of the research that you've been wanting to check out. And, you shared a paper, a fascinating paper about Facebook's work
Hmm.
on something called large concept models, or LCMs, as they like to call them.
Right.
Now, I'm no expert, but it seems like Facebook is pushing the boundaries of AI again.
Mhm.
And you wanted to get a better understanding of what this research is all about.
Yeah, that's right. These LCMs are really a new breed of language models that operate at a higher level of meaning
Okay.
than typical language models. Instead of just processing words, they work with concepts.
Concepts. So it's not just grammar and syntax. This
Yeah.
sounds pretty groundbreaking.
It is. It is. Think of it this way. Imagine you have a friend who speaks a different language.
Mhm.
Even if you don't understand their words, you can often get the gist of what they're trying to say through their gestures or tone of voice.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what LCMs are doing. They're trying to capture the underlying meaning of information regardless of the language or even the format it's expressed in.
So they could understand the same concept, whether it's written in English, Spanish, or even shown in a picture.
Exactly. They use something called the SONAR embedding space, which supports over 200 languages for text and 57 for speech.
Whoa.
So the concept of a dog chasing a ball could be understood in English, Spanish, or even as a video clip.
Okay.
This is a huge step forward in AI's ability to understand the world more like humans do.
Okay, that's starting to make sense. But how do these models actually learn these concepts?
Well, LCMs are a type of sequence-to-sequence model. Think of it like those autocomplete features on your phone that predict the next word you're going to type.
Yeah.
But instead of words, LCMs predict the next concept in a sequence.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, they're kind of building a chain of ideas, like links in a chain.
That's a great way to put it. And they explored three different approaches to do this.
Okay. One is a straightforward method called MSE regression, where the model tries to minimize the error between its predictions and the actual sequence of concepts. It's like throwing darts at a target and getting closer with each throw.
So it's a learning process where the model keeps refining its understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the second approach is a bit more complex. It's called diffusion-based generation, and it's similar to adding and removing noise from an image to eventually reveal a clear picture.
Okay.
It's a newer, more experimental method, but it has the potential to generate really, really creative and coherent outputs.
That sounds pretty wild.
Yeah.
What about the third approach?
hmm
There was something in the paper about a quantized sonar space.
That's right. This one is still in development.
Hmm.
But it's basically a way to make LCMs even more efficient.
Okay.
Think of it like compressing a huge file without losing any of the important information.
Right.
This could make LCMs faster and more powerful. It seems like there's a lot of potential here, but to get this good, they must need an insane amount of data to learn from, right?
You're absolutely right. They trained these models on a massive data set of 1.3 trillion tokens.
1.3 trillion.
Yeah.
To put that into perspective, how much data are we talking about here?
Imagine reading every single book in the Library of Congress hundreds of times over.
Yeah.
That's the scale we're talking about. And this massive scale is crucial because it allows LCMs to learn those complex relationships between concepts
Wow.
and generate truly novel outputs. They've basically given these models a fire hose of information, and they're somehow making sense of it all.
That's incredible. It makes you wonder what they could be capable of with even more data. But hold on, they also released the code for these models on GitHub, right?
Yes, they provided instructions for training and fine-tuning your own LCM. It's unusual in cutting-edge AI research to see this level of openness. It shows their commitment to open science, and it allows other researchers to build upon their work.
So theoretically, someone could build their own concept-powered AI using their instructions.
In theory, yes.
Yeah.
But it requires significant technical expertise and resources.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they've made it accessible is a testament to their commitment to transparency.
That's really impressive. It makes me even more curious about the potential applications of this technology. What could we actually do with AI that understands concepts on this level?
Well, that's what we're going to explore in part 2 of our deep dive.
I'm ready to have my mind blown. Stay tuned, folks, because things are about to get really interesting.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We are continuing our exploration of Facebook's research on large concept models, or LCMs as they call them.
Right.
In the last part, we learned how these models learn to understand concepts and how they're trained on this you know, mind-boggling amount of data.
Right.
Now I'm dying to know, like, what we can actually do with this technology. What are the real-world applications? Well, you're right to be excited. The potential applications are pretty vast.
Okay.
One area where LCMs could have a huge impact is machine translation.
You mean like Google Translate, but way better.
Way, way better. Imagine translations that don't just capture the literal meaning of words, but actually convey the nuances
Yeah.
and subtleties of the original text, like idioms, cultural references, humor, all those things that get lost in translation
Totally.
with current technology.
That would be incredible. Think of all the books, movies, and music from other cultures that we could finally experience in their full like richness.
Exactly. And because LCMs are language agnostic, they could potentially handle translations between any pair of languages,
Okay.
even those with very different grammatical structures. It could open up a whole new world of communication and understanding.
That's amazing. So what other applications are we talking about?
Another exciting area is AI assistance. Imagine having an AI assistant that can actually understand your complex questions,
Mm-hmm.
offer insightful advice, and even anticipate your needs
Okay.
based on your past interactions.
So it's not just about setting reminders and playing music anymore. It's like having a truly intelligent companion who can help you with almost anything.
That's the idea. With LCMs powering these assistants, we could have much more natural and meaningful conversations with AI.
Right.
They could help us learn new things, solve problems,
Yeah.
and even just keep us company.
That sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
No.
But it's happening right now. That's incredible.
Oh, no. And let's not forget about content creation. LCMs could potentially revolutionize the way we write articles, stories, and even scripts.
So they could analyze vast amounts of information
Right.
and synthesize it into compelling narrative.
Exactly. They could help writers and researchers save countless hours by doing the heavy lifting of information gathering and analysis. And who knows, maybe they could even come up with creative ideas that humans would never have thought of.
That raises an interesting question. Could they also be used for more artistic endeavors, like songwriting or poetry?
It's certainly possible. If they can understand and generate human-like language at such a high level, then there's no reason why they couldn't also tap into our creative potential. It's a fascinating area for future research.
It sounds like LCMs could have a major impact on education as well. Could they personalize learning experiences or provide more effective tutoring?
Absolutely. Imagine an AI tutor that can adapt to each student's individual learning style and pace. It could identify areas where they're struggling, offer targeted explanations, and even create customized learning materials.
That would be a game changer for students who need extra support or who learn differently.
And on the research front, LCMs could help scientists analyze, vast amounts of data,
Right.
identify patterns, and generate hypotheses.
Right.
They could potentially accelerate breakthroughs in fields like medicine,
Okay.
climate science, and materials engineering.
Wow, we've talked about machine translation, AI assistance,
Right.
content creation,
Yeah.
education, scientific research. Is there anything these models can't do?
Well, it's important to remember that this technology is still in its early stages.
Okay.
There are many challenges to overcome before we see widespread adoption.
Like what?
One challenge is developing ways to evaluate and measure the performance of LCMs. It's not as simple as just checking for grammatical accuracy.
Right.
We need to develop metrics that capture their ability to understand and generate truly meaningful language.
So we need to figure out how to measure their understanding, not just their output.
And another challenge is ensuring that these models are used responsibly. We need to make sure they're not used to spread misinformation.
Right.
Or
Yep.
create harmful content.
That's a crucial point. It's not enough to just create powerful AI.
Right.
We need to make sure it's used for good.
Absolutely. But despite these challenges, the potential benefits of LCMs are enormous.
Yeah.
We're witnessing the birth of a new era in AI.
Wow.
One where machines can understand and interact with us on a deeper, more meaningful level.
It's exciting and a little bit scary at the same time.
It is, but that's why it's so important to have these conversations now. We need to think carefully about the implications of this technology and make sure we're using it to create a better future for everyone.
Well said. So where do we go from here? What are some of the bigger picture implications of AI that can understand concepts?
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we'll be diving into in the final part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned, folks, because things are about to get really deep. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on quite a journey exploring the world of large concept models. We've seen how they work, the incredible scale of data they learn from, all the potential applications they could have.
It's groundbreaking research, and it raises some really thought-provoking questions.
Exactly. In this final part, we're going to step back and think about the bigger picture. What does it mean for society when we have AI that can, understand concepts like we do?
It's a fundamental shift in our relationship with technology. For centuries, we've thought of machines as tools, tools that follow our instructions. But now we're creating AI that can understand and generate meaning on its own.
It blurs the lines a bit, doesn't it?
Mhm.
If a machine can understand a concept, is it thinking or just simulating thought?
That's a question that has philosophers and scientists debating. There's no easy answer. These models are incredibly sophisticated, but ultimately they're still trained on data created by humans. They're learning patterns and associations, not necessarily understanding the world in the same way that we do.
So it's more like advanced mimicry than true comprehension?
You could say that,
Yeah.
but even if it's mimicry, it's still incredibly powerful, and it raises questions about what it means to be intelligent or conscious.
Yeah, yeah. It makes you wonder if we're redefining those terms as AI evolves.
Perhaps,
Yeah.
perhaps we are, but even if these models don't think in the same way that humans do, they can still have a profound impact on our lives.
That's what I keep coming back to. The implications are huge.
They are, and it's important to think about them carefully. One thing that comes to mind is the potential impact on the job market.
Right, right. If AI can automate tasks that currently require human intelligence, what happens to those jobs?
It's a valid concern. Some jobs will inevitably be displaced, but new jobs will also emerge. The key is to adapt and prepare for the changing landscape.
Mm.
We need to focus on developing skills that complement AI rather
Yeah.
than compete with it.
So things like creativity,
Mhm.
critical thinking, problem solving,
Yeah.
those skills become even more important in a world with advanced AI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about jobs. AI that understands concepts could change the way we communicate, learn,
Yeah. Well,
and even think.
it's like a ripple effect that touches every aspect of our lives.
Think about education, for example.
Yeah.
With personalized AI tutors, every student could have access to customized learning tailored to their individual needs and pace.
But that would be a revolution in education. It could level the playing field
Yeah.
and unlock so much potential.
And imagine the impact on scientific research. AI could help scientists analyze massive data sets, identify patterns, and make breakthroughs that would have taken humans years or even decades to achieve.
It's almost like having a super-powered research assistant working around the clock.
In a way it is. But with all this potential comes a responsibility
Yeah.
to use this technology wisely.
Absolutely. We need to think about the ethical implications, the potential biases,
Right.
and the safeguards we need to put in place.
That's where the conversation gets really interesting. It's not just about the technical advancements,
Yeah.
but about the values and principles that guide our use of AI.
It's a conversation we all need to be a part of.
I completely agree. The future of AI isn't predetermined. It's a future that we're shaping together with our choices and actions.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about after this deep dive?
I think the key takeaway is that AI is no longer something out there in the distant future. It's here, it's evolving rapidly,
Yeah.
and it's going to have a profound impact on our lives.
We need to be informed, engaged, and ready to adapt.
Exactly. And we need to approach this new era with a sense of curiosity,
Mhm.
responsibility, and optimism.
Well said. Thank you for guiding us through this fascinating and thought-provoking topic.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on the deep dive. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions. The future is waiting to be discovered.